All right, everyone, so take two. Again, just the trials and tribulations of, or whatever. What is the term? Trials and tribulations of doing this at home. Phone started ringing halfway through the video. So yeah. Magic video. Now, just to sum up what I said, the last one, Kalash has happened. I'm pretty much done talking about Kalash for the time being. We'll wait till Aether Revolts come back. But among the list of topics I chose for Magic to talk about when I wrote down Magic topics to talk about, one show came up, and I'm like, yeah, that's an interesting question. And the question is Nico Bolas stronger than Emrakul? Now, let's make a few things clear. In terms of outright the creature hitting the Planeswalker card, yeah, Emrakul could completely wipe out Bolas unless Bolas's loyalty costs have somehow gone beyond either the 13 or the 15, depending on which version of Emrakul you're using. In which case, yes, if Nico Bolas survives that, and we'll get into more specifics in a little bit, then yes, he's technically stronger than Emrakul and could take on Emrakul. But in terms of the actual card versus card and lore versus lore, the actual characters and things along those lines, and the actual scope of Magic, is Bolas stronger than Emrakul? Now, before we get anything, pre-melding Nico Bolas, yeah, I'd say he's stronger than Emrakul. They were pretty much, Planeswalkers were pretty much gods at that point. That being said, Emrakul and the Eldrazi, from what we can gather, are pretty much in time memoriam, and they're ageless, basically. They've been around forever. Bolas is 25,000 years old. He's probably the oldest Planeswalker and oldest being around at the moment, but he's still child's play compared to the Eldrazi in terms of age. But we're not looking at pre-melding. We're looking at post-melding, where it's a weakened Bolas. He's considered a shell of his former self, but that being said, a shell of his former self is still considered one of the strongest Planeswalkers around. So, and one of the greatest threats to the multiverse. Let's look at that actually in card and gameplay. Now, when I say gameplay, I don't mean like cheating him out on turn 3 or turn whatever with like Elvish Piper or something like that. I mean, if you were to go mana by mana, blah 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 blah. If you were to go by that route, which one is the stronger of the two? Now, we'll look at Bolas. We look at Bolas first. He's a 8-mana Planeswalker with 5 loyalty starting off. He's definitely more difficult to cast in terms of that because he's got 3 different mana symbols, colors in his mana cost. Is what I'm trying to say. But it's blue, 2 black, and a red plus 4 other mana. So he's 8 altogether. 5 loyalty plus 3 destroy target non-creature permanent. -2 take control of a creature, and -7 7 damage to a player, discard 7 cards, sacrifice 7 permanents. So, he's a dragon and all that stuff. He's powerful, he's manipulative, all that. With Emrakul, it's we'll start with Aeon's Torn first. 15-15 for 15, and not easy to get out. But in the basis of, some strategy, you'd probably be using like Eldrazi Scions or Spawns to get it out, or extra mana. So let's just say 15. You could get it out on turn. I don't know. We'll give Bolas a few moments there and say like 11. So Bolas will have 3 extra turns to be doing something before you get Emrakul out in the scenario, which would be a reasonable scenario, I think. So it's 15-15. Now, you take an extra turn the minute you bring him out, this version of Emrakul out. And where did I write it down? Oh, yeah. He Flying Annihilator 6, which, when Annihilator is, target player sacrifices 6 or permanents based on the number, which is in this case 6. Protection from colored spells, and he can't basically it can't be put into the graveyard more or less because it goes straight back into the deck. So Aeon's Torn. So when comparing these, let's compare it real quick. So, and let's assume Bolas is using his plus ability. He's not he's not taking out the lands to make it more difficult, because that's what you would do if you knew Emrakul was coming. But you turn 8 him, you do his plus 3, Emil goes up to 8 mana. You'll have about 3 other turns before Emrakul comes out. So if you times that by 3, that means he'd go up to about 17 mana. But if I were to maybe get a little, if I were maybe to go another route, I'd say not 17, but more like 12, because I feel like he would actually take control of a creature at some point. And let's say, for sake of sake, it's maybe a 2/2 flyer. Just hypotheticals here. So now he's got 12, and he's so now he's got 12 mana, flying, all that, loyalty, blah blah blah. And then Emrakul comes out. Emrakul takes the extra turn, and she's going to swing in for Bolas. So you can block with and you'd probably get rid of the land. Honestly, you would block with the creature, and Bolas still dies. And honestly, overall, in just these two cards going against each other, the only way Bolas survives is if he's got a lot of loyalty, has not been hit whatsoever by a card, has protection for him on the card. Because that's the thing, Bolas usually makes use of minions very well. So it's very possible you'd have a couple flyers on the battlefield to protect you, all that. So high loyalty, which is possible, and lots of little blockers or something like that, flyers, whatever, can block. And then if, Emrakul swings in, Bolas is not down and out. He's still around. And I think he'd honestly have enough power to take control of Emrakul. So, because at that point, he's not a colored spell. He's a planeswalker. Spells only are spells so long as they're in your hand. After they hit the field and permanents, they're no longer spells. That's an ability. And you could take control of Emrakul. And it's not for the end turn. It's for the rest of the game. So, from the card standpoint, Emrakul's going to win like 90% of the time. But, there's plenty of scenarios where, 10% of scenarios where Bolas, provided the deck plays out right, that Bolas can take control and defeat Emrakul. But then you look at the Promised End, which is arguably the weaker of them. But at the same time, no. Promised End is a 13/13 for 13, flying and trample. However, it costs one less for each card type in the graveyard, or your graveyard anyway. So, because it has Delirium, more or less. Like a super Delirium. So if you count instant, enchantment, artifact, creature, planeswalker, tribal, I believe, is a card type as well, and land, that's, I believe, 7 card types. This card can, in theory, become a 6/6 with enough things going on. The more realistic scenario, though, is you'll probably have like an instant sorcery, land, creature, maybe an artifact at best. At best, you're probably going to have 3 or 4 different varieties. That still turns a 13/13 into either a 9, or a mana cost of 13 into either a mana cost of 9 or 8. So basically, that means you're either going to get it on the same turn as Bolas, the turn right after Bolas, or turn immediately, or the turn following that turn, depending who went first. But again, let's assume that that's going to happen. But the cards go up head to head against each other. It's because Emrakul controls a player's turn, you can just destroy your Nico Bolas with Nico Bolas at that point. So in cards playing sense, it's going to defeat Bolas. But that's assuming that it drops down first. That's the weird thing about this, is that if Emrakul comes out first, yeah. If Bolas comes out first, then yeah, Bolas is kind of screwed in many regards. If Emrakul comes out first, Eon Torn comes out first, you're usually SOL at that point. But if you're in some magical 1% scenario, you get Nico Bolas out after you get Aeon's Torn out. If that's what they get Aeon's Torn out, you win because you'll immediately take control of their Aeon's Torn. You'll immediately take control of their Emrakul. And the same can be said for Promised End. Is that, yeah, they're super powerful creatures, and if they come out after Bolas, they are going to just wreck Bolas's crap. And here's the thing, the 13/13 Emrakul is actually far worse in this sense, because you can control your opponent's turn, sure, but if you can't play certain cards, you can't, like if you have Nico Bolas in your hand, but if you're 1 mana short, then, and you got mana in your hand, but, you can't do anything with it. Or you draw top deck it. You can actually block Aeon's Promised End without too much difficulty, as long as you got some, like fogs or anything like. As long as you got cards that can actually prevent damage or, some things along. Basically, the point is that if Bolas gets out after Emrakul, which is more likely in the Promised End scenario, you can completely wreck Emrakul because you will just take control of Emrakul. Now, this is just the card standpoint. We're not really talking about the cards, though they do hint a little bit what could come. We're actually talking about the characters in game. So let's look at Emrakul first. Emrakul is the Titan of Corruption. She is the biological Titan. She is the strongest physically of the Titans. She's also nearly always categorized as a she. And among all, she somehow manipulates her own personal gravity. She is capable of corrupting. I'm not even sure how she does it. She's capable of somehow getting into the mind of something and I think corrupting them from that point on biologically. I don't know if it's like a physical infection or a mental infection that physically morphs you, but she does that. She can actually control minds. She is literally capable of mental dominance over other beings. And she's actually here's the actual scary thing about Emrakul is that she's of the three Eldrazi that we know of. I would actually contend that Martin Logan might still be an Eldrazi, or Merit Logan, however you pronounce that, from Cold Snap. You know what I'm talking about, Dark Depths. The thing about Emrakul, she's apparently the only one that actually can think and has a mind of her own. While the other ones just seem to be instinct-driven, mindless in many regards, Emrakul's not. Emrakul had herself sealed away because she just said, nope, it's not time yet. We're not done yet. We're not ready yet. I'm just going to chill out in the moon. Here, you, Tamio, use that thing. Just, no, I used the thing. It's like, yeah, shut up, Tamio. Yeah, I don't mind Tamio, but sorry, you're going to let a whole fucking universe die because, some stories are meant to. No, that's wrong thinking. That's bad thinking. Anyway, point being is that she's capable. In fact, she was capable of basically dropping 3 members of the Great Gatewatch, not including Tammy, who's not a member of the Gatewatch yet. 4 Planeswalkers in that case. Liliana was able to resist simply because she's very willful and defiant, and Jace was able to at least put up a psychic barrier, but even he was struggling against it. They were struggling very much. He beat Emrakul in a game of chess, of all things. And he's like, nope, change the game. I'm done playing. So Emrakul is by no means a easy foe. But I'll be flat out honest. Even in weakened state, I think Bolas is actually stronger than Emrakul. And here's why I say this. Among all the other things Bolas is capable of doing, first off, his Black Mana is incapable of shattering minds simply by touch. It's an inherent ability of his. Simply with a caress. He can literally just shatter mindsets. I don't know if that would work against Eldrazi, even one with a mind, but regardless. He is actually capable of nullifying time magic when he fought against Teferi and during, I think, Future Sights. Teferi actually, was using like time manipulation, and Bolas nullified that. If you're capable of nullifying time magic with blue mana, that's things you can. I don't know if Bolas is actually capable of time magic himself, but he was not able to nullify it. He's telepathic in his own right, to the point where when him and Jace actually first met, Jace, a very powerful telepath, he's gotten stronger, but he was still a powerful telepath. Couldn't do a damn thing. He barely stood a chance against Bolas. It was, as I think he put it, was like a spear, like puncturing a bubble or something like that. Bolas says, "Are you kidding me right now?" Who's calling now? Greenfield's calling now. Screw it. We're going to keep going with the video. I just seriously. Anyway, and now that's distracting me. I'm sorry, I lost my place because the damn phone started ringing. Okay, yeah. In the Agents of Artificer, or Artifice, I think it's called. But I actually own that novel. That's actually a pretty decent story. I own that novel. So in that, we described when he was actually having a telepathic conversation with Bolas. Bolas basically said, distracted you. When it says, like, why are we doing this? Like, it distracted you, didn't it? And then Jace immediately realized, oh, crap, psychic shit. Oh! It's like, I think he described it like a needle piercing, like, through there, just like, spears, like, oh! He's getting a nosebleed and everything. Just, and he couldn't take Bolas. And Bolas wasn't even like, Bolas was just randomly having a conversation with Tezzeret at the time. So, and he's like, ah! Yep. So, right there, first up, so when you compare those two in terms of their mental manipulation, which they both have, Emrakul can't compete with Bolas in mental manipulation. Oh, maybe she can compete, but she can't corrupt Bolas. Is what I think is the main purpose here. I really don't think that she can corrupt, manipulate, or transform Bolas in any sort of way. That would entail her to actually be able to, overpower Bolas mentally, which Bolas, again, she might be older than Bolas. I'm not arguing that point at all. Bolas has far more combat experience, has far more overall abilities than I think Emrakul does. So right there, I don't think Emrakul can match Bolas at all in that sense. Should also be known that Krufix, the god of which god? He's the green-blue Theros god. Not my favorite in terms of cards, but my favorite in terms of lore, because I'm a green-blue player, and I love anything green-blue, so I love it when green-blue gets kind of hyped or gets some love. It's actually, I believe they said that he's technically the strongest of all the gods on Theros, because, no, I existed before all of you guys. I can see everything and everything like that. I see all, different realities. When he actually looked into Ajani's mind, he saw Nico Bolas is far stronger than any of the gods on Theros, which, by the way, I think we're seeing gods again, and pretty soon we're going to see Anam and Ket. Bolas is probably stronger than all those gods, too. So whatever card we're getting of Bolas, I have a feeling it's going to be a pretty haxed card. I hope. But no, he literally saw Bolas as stronger than any of the gods on Theros. I don't know if it was put together, but definitely stronger than any of the gods, including himself. He saw him as one of the greatest threats to the multiverse, putting him on the level of the Eldrazi and New Phyrexia. Of course, now let's be fair, that's seeing it from, I believe, Ajani's point of view. Ajani has never dealt with the Eldrazi, as far as I know. So if he saw the Eldrazi, maybe he'd reconsider his opinion of Bolas. And to be fair, this is again a Bolas that is just a shell of his former self. Another thing that lends credence to the fact that Bolas probably is actually stronger than Emrakul is the fact that when he orchestrated the release of the Eldrazi, he didn't seem worried at all the fact that these things got loose. These things are strong or are so powerful that they alter and destroy planes. Bolas himself is probably strong enough to destroy a plane. He's strong enough to rule a plane, that's for certain. So how strong is Bolas? We still don't truly know. I mean, we know he's God is powerful. We've seen how powerful Emrakul really is. From a physical standpoint, I don't think Nico Bolas could take on Emrakul, but I don't think Nico Bolas would try to take on Emrakul from a physical standpoint. Nico Bolas has had over 2 millennia's worth of, century, millennia, decamillennia, decamillennia, or I think it's decamillennia. He's had over 2 decamillennia's worth of experience. So he would know not to go head first into fighting Emrakul. He would formulate a plan to take on Emrakul. He would probably show up there, and if he could, maybe even subvert Emrakul, make her a minion of him, for God's sake. Now, I don't know if that's with other lesser minions is one thing, and even with card form, he can take control of Emrakul. There's nothing that stops him taking control of Emrakul in card form. But an actual story from, I don't know if Emrakul's weak enough, I guess would be the term, or if he's strong enough to overpower her mentally. I don't think that either of them can honestly overpower the other mentally. In fact, I think it would be a similar thing where they actually have a mental conversation. Apparently, she's actually capable of hypnotizing individuals with that magenta eye, which I learned that about her when Eldritch Moon came out, is that purple thing, that glowing thing, is her eye. Okay. But apparently people find that very hypnotizing, very alluring. I don't think Bolas would honestly fall for that, because he's so powerful. He's dealt with manipulation tactics for so long that it's just one of those things that's just like, whatever. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if, I don't think we'll ever truly get a definite answer on that. Well, maybe we could. I mean, would we eventually maybe see the storylines cross over and see Bolas take on Emrakul? Possibly. But who knows? Yeah, I mean, is Nico Bolas stronger than Karn or Sorin or I don't know, some of the other planeswalkers here that are pretty strong? I don't know. I can't really say that they are stronger than him. So because, at least just in terms of card form, because here's the thing about Bolas in card form versus any other Planeswalker in card form, and I've looked at this. I don't think there's a gain control target permanent for a first minus ability or a plus ability. Bolas starts at 5 loyalty. Ugin starts at 5 loyalty. In fact, if you actually look at Ugin compared to Bolas, Bolas's card actually... Bolas can defeat Ugin no problem. Ugin can't defeat Bolas right off the bat. So I find that very humorous. But what I'm getting at is that, as far as I can tell, with the exception of maybe Garrick Wildspeaker, or excuse me, Garrick, Garrick, the last one we had, the black-green one, Garrick Huntmaster? No. Ooh, nope. Or Garruk, as I like to. I prefer Garruk, honestly. Apex Predator, that's it. And I have that one, too. Yeah, I prefer Garruk, honestly. Garrick just doesn't sound as... Garruk sounds like primal. Garruk sounds like a hunter. I am Garruk. I am Garrick. Which, Garrick's... Honestly, it sounds like Derek to me. Hi, I'm Garrick. Instead of, I am Garruk. So I always call him Garruk. Except for Apex Predator. And even then, it's debatable because, Bolas can easily just, they can destroy each other, basically. He's the only one who actually has to destroy a Planeswalker ability, whereas Bolas has to destroy any non-creature ability. So it's actually... So honestly, he can just, get your lands and make sure you don't play your Planeswalkers. But even then, he can pretty much destroy any Planeswalker that comes out on the field, save Apex Predator, who can destroy him first. But I don't know if lore-wise that actually means anything. But anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children's, the review for tonight. I'll be seeing that later on. Who would win ideas? Please put those in the comments below, too. We're going into October, so I'm going to be doing, another Pokemon video, another Bleach video, Soy Phone versus someone. Ideas for that one, please put that in the comments. And going to be doing a couple Halloween-related Who Would Wins. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time.